Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to this panel. I'm Harounan Kazianga, and I'm presenting on the long-term impact of girls-friendly schools, 10-year evidence from school construction in Burkina Faso. This is a joint work with Nicholas Engerson, Lee Linden, Arif Mamoun, Ali Protik, and Marcelan. In this paper, we estimate the impact of a primary school construction program on children's long-term outcomes 10 years after the program began. Using a regression discontinuity design, we find that the programs raised girls' academic outcomes and it lowered the rate of early marriage and early childbearing. Access to education has improved around the world over the past few decades, but that's not the case in many countries, low-income countries, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, and with and in Burkina Faso, where this study takes place. In countries where uh, access to education is still not universal, girls fare worse than boys, and there are several reasons to that. It could be that parents tend to favor boys over girls at the time of enrollment, and even when girls get enrolled, uh, they they are less likely to spend enough time in school. It's well documented that low girls' education attainment had a huge social cost. Therefore, we can make the argument that these countries can improve the overall economic prospect by raising girls' education attainment. There are many reasons why girls might not get enrolled in school, and when they enroll, they might not progress through the grade and stay long enough to reach secondary schools. There are two broad categories of reason: the demand side factors and the supply side factors. On the demand side, the opportunity cost of child time we tend to increase with the age, and particularly for girls, the pressure to get married and start childbearing will can increase as the age, particularly in more conservative areas. On the supply side, secondary school might not be accessible, and the quality might be low, and this will act as a deterrent for girls' enrollment transition for girls transitioning into secondary school. So in this paper, we ask whether improving the quality of primary school can increase likelihood that a girl transition into secondary school. Ask two specific research questions. So, what are the long-term, first, what are the long-term effect of quality elementary school on children who are exposed to this intervention as they enter adolescence and early adulthood? And second, the short-term impact of elementary education level intervention in low-income countries persist over time or do they fade out? We'll be looking at two broad categories of outcomes, academic outcomes that will include completion of primary school and transition into secondary school, and life choices that will consist in marriage and fertility decision. So a quick previews of our main finding in terms of academic outcome. We find that for older uh, for female young adults, the program increase the completion of primary school by 4 percentage point and the transition into secondary school by 5 percentage point. And for this group, the test scores are still relatively high, 1.4 standard deviation, for example, when they take secondary level test. And this impact on academic outcomes are larger for girls 13 to 18-year-old. And we find that for this group, the impact on boys are significant, but they're in general smaller than the impact on girls. On life choices, we find that the programs reduce marriage by almost by 10 percentage points, and childbearing by almost 6 percentage points. There was no significant effect on life choices for boys or for relatively younger girls. A quick description of the program. So this is, it was funded by the Millennium Challenge Corporation, and it was designed to improve education outcomes for girls. It included two phases. The first phase ran from 2005 to 2008, and the second phase ran from 2009 to 2012. The program consisted in taking the program consists in building 132 girl-friendly schools in the first phase. They included 3 classrooms school from grade 1 to 3 with teacher housing, separate latrine for boys and girls, and a source of clean water within the school compound. Additional component included school meals for boys and girls, take-home rations for girls only, school kits and textbook, and soft interventions that consist in mentoring for girls. In the second phase, 3 additional classroom and the teacher housing were added, and they continued the soft intervention. So the programs was allocated by the Ministry of Basic Education, and 233 villages applied to receive a school, and these villages were scored within 47 departments, and within each department, the higher scoring villages got received the school. So this is a basic timeline. So of the program, it started in 2005, 2006. There was a first survey in 2008, a second survey in 2012, and a last survey in 2015. And in this paper, we use mostly the 2012 and 2015 surveys. So I'll provide you with a quick recall of the short-term impact that we estimated in 2013. We found that the program improved academic outcome, especially for substantially, but there were no significant differences between boys and girls. So this is a brief description of a sample that we're using. Again, it includes 132 villages. We administered a standard household survey, right, in 2012 and 2015, and we had also a school survey, and we surveyed about 10,500 households in 2012 and 26,430 children between 6 and 17-year-old. In 2015, we surveyed slightly more than 11,000 households and close to 35,000 children between the age of 6 and 22. So this is our basic specification. So we use a parametric regression discontinuity design regression where we control for for household demographic and department fixed effect, and in this specification, beta one is the program impact. So we checked for the internal validity of by checking the probability of receiving a school, right? No discontinuity in the overall covariate, and we use the Macquarie test to rule out any presence of manipulation of the scoring algorithm. These results are shown in the next few slides. I will not comment on them, but I will leave them for the online for the interested readers. So coming back now to the main to our main result of the effect on of the program impact on young adults. So we look at we distinguish between adolescent 13 to 18 year old and young adult 19 to 20 year old, and we'll for this demographic group we'll look at we'll estimate for boys and girls as separately, and we'll look at their academic outcomes and their life decision. So in terms of academic outcome, the first panel show the program effect on girls, and the second panel the program effect on boys. And in each case, we provide the non-selected limit, which is the average in the control, which will be the average in the control group. So as you can see in the first four columns, we find that the program has a substantial impact on academic outcomes, especially for both girls and boys, right? And although the magnitude seem to appear slightly larger for boys, in terms of relative change, the effect the effect on girls are larger. And for example, we have 5 percentage point in the increase of primary school completion for girls, and 4 percentage point increase in the transition to secondary school, and the test score for girls increases by 0.14 standard deviation. In terms of life choices, girls in the programs are almost 10 percentage points less likely to be married, and they are roughly 6 percentage points less likely to even have a child. And for boys, we didn't see any effect on the life choice decision. So we repeat the same exercise for adolescents and younger individuals who are 13 to 18 year old. Right? We see the same effect on. We still see some impact on academic outcomes, but almost virtually no effect on life choices. So to summarize the effect on young adults on academic outcomes, we've seen a consistent improvement across all groups, younger adults and adolescents, for boys and for girls. And marriage and fertility decision, we see only an effect on girls 19 to 20 year old. We have no detectable effect on boys or younger girls 13 to 18 year old. So one reason for that will be that girls that young may still be too young, right? And men as well in this age category will not have entered the marriage market, especially since men tend to marry much later than girls. So a quick summary on the persistence of a program, right? By the 2015 survey. So it helped to remind ourselves that Bright has been in place for 10 years and all outside intervention had stopped. So, and the question that we can ask at that point is, were Bright schools still meeting the primary goal, which were to improve academic outcomes for school age girls? And we'll test this by comparing the academic outcome for girls between 16 and 12 years, and in using the 7-year survey and the 10-year survey. So as you can see in this table, we show that the program effect persists over time, right? We still see some effect on the 7-year wave after the program has been in place for 7 years and after the program has been in place for 10 years. But the effect are slightly smaller in the 10-year wave. And this persists also. So for school age children, so the academic impact are still quite large, right? But they tend to get smaller. And I mean, there could be many reasons for that. By 2015, most non-selected villages had their own school, right? And also, it's helped to notice that by 2015, the gender gap has closed entirely in bright villages. So, and this helps us answer and start answering a broad development, a broad policy question. So, what happened when the outside actors, the government, the donors, and the NGOs leave? We don't have a definitive answer, but the set of results here point us that the effect of bright school tend to have persisted over time. So in conclusion, what did we do? We estimated the longer term impact of girl-friendly school in rural Burkina Faso, and we look at two dimensions of longer term effect. So the program of bright school on individuals who were exposed to the programs as children and who are now adolescent and young adult, and the effect of bright school on primary school age children 10 years after the program began and 3 years after all outside intervention has ceased. So we've seen a significant impact on the academic outcome for adolescent and young adults, right? And the gain are relatively larger for adolescent girls, and exposure to bright as a child has led to delaying marriage and childbearing among girls who are between 19 and 20 years old. And bright continues to have a significant effect on primary school age children, but the effect have decreased over time.